This is a Sales Geek Academia to Business Translation production. Welcome. The sales landscape is just moving incredibly fast these days, and right at the center of all that change, well, it's generative artificial intelligence, GAI.
It really is reshaping things, isn't it?
Absolutely. So today we're doing a deep dive into some really interesting recent academic research looking at how GAI fits into digital content marketing. And our mission really is for you, the sales leader. We want to take these sometimes complex academic findings and translate them into practical, actionable insights you can actually use.
Right. We're aiming to unpack what this research tells us about how GAI is actually being used right now, maybe some surprising benefits, also some, limitations people might overlook, and definitely its huge future potential for your sales organization.
Exactly. We're here to explore it together, give you that shortcut to being well-informed, basically. So let's jump in. The first big area is using GAI to understand your customer better, generating intelligence about those customer journeys.
Yeah. And what's really striking from the research is how much of this core work, building buyer personas, mapping out customer journeys, analyzing engagement, how much of it is still very manual for a lot of companies.
It's kind of amazing, isn't it, with all the tech out there?
It is. Even with GAI tools available, the picture the research paints is often, someone manually sifting through data, trying to piece it all together.
It really highlights a gap. I rember my team spending days, literal days, on whiteboards with sticky notes trying to map just one customer journey. And the research actually backs this up. One person interviewed said, quote, "It is still very manual labor, and it would be really interesting to know how AI could be used better in that creation of buyer personas."
Mm-hmm.
And another mentioned mapping journeys by hand, just using Google Analytics. So if the GAI tools are there, what's the real blockage? Is it just not knowing about them, or is it something maybe deeper?
That's a great question. I think awareness is part of it, sure. But the research digs a bit deeper. Sometimes it's simply that the existing systems don't talk well to the common GAI tools, integration issues.
Right.
But a really big factor, maybe the biggest, is concern about data security, proprietary customer data. Companies are, quite rightly, very cautious.
Makes sense.
But here's the flip side. This is exactly where GAI has massive untapped potential for sales. Imagine GAI automatically creating these super detailed customer segments or buyer personas based on real data, not just assumptions.
That would be powerful.
Or analyzing customer engagement with way more accuracy than a human feasibly could. This isn't just about saving time, though it does that. It's about enabling much better personalization in your marketing, giving you really precise insights into who your customers are and what they actually need. Some research even hints it could visualize these complex journeys, which is pretty exciting.
And the research mentions specific tools, right? Like Salesforce's Einstein GPT, Microsoft's Dynamics 365, even ChatGPT for things like lead scoring or learning about new customer segments.
Exactly. And that connection to sales is crucial. Think about how GAI could enrich the information you have on leads, helping your sales team get a much better estimate of where a prospect is in their buying process, how ready they are.
That level of insight could really change the game for outreach and targeting, much more effective conversations.
Absolutely. But as we said, that big hurdle is information security and data privacy. You can't or shouldn't just feed sensitive customer data into these common, more public GAI tools. That's a non-starter for most companies.
So how are they getting around that? Because clearly some are moving forward.
Right. And this is where it gets interesting. Enterprises, especially the bigger ones, aren't waiting. The research shows they're actively building their own internal GAI tools.
Okay. Trained on their own data.
Precisely. Trained specifically on their company's proprietary data. Or, alternatively, they're integrating GAI features directly into the systems they already use, like their CRM or marketing automation platforms.
So like a private GAI.
Exactly. The study mentioned firms developing their own self-developed Copilot or using the integrated GAI features in something like Microsoft Dynamics 365. And the key benefit here is that this lets them use their sensitive data safely for these content marketing tasks, driving sales insights without the security risk. It's a smart workaround.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Let's shift gears a bit. What about actually creating content? Building that portfolio of valuable sales and marketing material.
Well, this is where GAI is already having a huge impact. The research clearly identifies content creation as basically GAI's largest current application area right now. It's being widely used.
And you can see why, right? The speed and output are just incredible. Like For brainstorming, GAI can spit out tons of new content ideas, headlines, different ways to structure website content, all sorts of variations, almost instantly.
Yeah, informants in the study definitely highlighted that. They found it really useful for planning and brainstorming. And it's not just for brand new stuff. It's also really good at revising or updating existing content.
Like shortening an article, maybe.
Exactly. Or translating things for different markets.
Yeah.
It just makes those content workflows so much more efficient. And for you, the sales leader, think about what that means. Faster turnaround on sales enablement materials, ready-to-go email templates, even getting first drafts of proposals or presentations done super quickly.
That efficiency boost is undeniable. But does it come at a cost? The research mentions this idea of GAI democratizing content creation. More people across the company can now produce content.
Right. Productivity goes up, potentially. But it raises a really important question, doesn't it? Does all this easily generated content dilute authenticity? Does it still sound like you? Does it actually connect with customers?
That's the core issue. We've all seen that slightly off generic content online. The study even quoted someone seeing stuff on LinkedIn and thinking, this content is now generated by some automation, and questioning if that's, the direction we really want to go.
It's a valid concern. So how do you, as a leader, make sure your team's GAI-assisted content still have that genuine voice, that human touch that resonates?
And the research seems pretty clear on this. You absolutely still need human editing and writing. It's non-negotiable, really, for checking facts, getting the tone of voice right, cutting out those cliches that AI can sometimes lean on.
Yeah, it makes the content feel flat, lifeless otherwise.
So it feels like GAI provides maybe the building blocks, the raw material, but the human provides the soul.
That's a perfect way to put it. The study suggests GAI is best for creating that framework text, like a skeleton.
Yeah.
Then a human comes in and shapes it into something compelling, something with personality. And a really key finding here is that GAI is still seen as, limited when it comes to creating genuinely high quality or really technical content, especially stuff that requires original insights from your subject matter experts. That human expertise, still absolutely crucial for thought leadership, for standing out.
What about visuals, images, infographics?
Yeah, that's actually an area where GI is getting a much warmer reception, according to the research. People seem quite positive about using it for images, infographics, maybe even video down the line.
And you can ensure it looks like your brand.
Yes, that's the key. Firms are training GAI models, tools like DALL-E 2, Midjourney with their specific branding, their visual guidelines. This helps ensure consistency across everything. Plus, it's a really cost-effective way to generate new visuals for ads or organic content. Huge help for smaller budgets or if you need to iterate quickly on campaigns.
That brand consistency ties back to the text content too, right? Getting the tone of voice right.
Absolutely critical. And again, the research points to those internal custom-developed GAI tools, or the ones integrated into existing systems, as being the best way to nail that specific company tone of voice.
Because they're trained on your existing successful content.
Exactly. It makes the GAI much more efficient for the individual user, too, because you don't need these super long, complex prompts every time to get it to sound right. It becomes more like a true co-pilot.
Okay. Now, we should probably touch on the downsides, the potential pitfalls. The research mentions some concerns.
Yeah, definitely worth noting. Informants brought up worries about things like copyrights, potential biases, or lack of inclusivity in the training data, the risk of factual mistakes slipping through.
Yeah, the factual errors can be a big one.
For sure. Also, the pricing of these tools and just this lingering uncertainty about how search engines might treat AI-generated content in the long run. Will it get penalized?
All really important things for sales leaders to keep in mind for compliance and just overall strategy.
Okay, so we've talked about understanding customers and creating content. What about actually reaching those customers, engaging them through content sharing?
GAI is definitely playing a role here too. The research shows it's helping boost organic visibility, especially through SEO activities.
How so? Like keyword research?
Yeah, things like keyword analysis, although the research notes the reliability can be a bit mixed depending on the tool you use, and also generating that SEO-optimized content itself.
Right, but we just talked about how that mass-produced content might not always be great for actual human readers. So there's a tension there for sales leaders, isn't there? Balancing getting traffic versus providing real value that actually engages prospects.
It absolutely is. It's a tightrope walk, like you said earlier. You need the traffic, but you also need content that connects and converts. That's a strategic balancing act leaders need to manage.
Makes sense. What about social media? GAI is being used quite effectively there too, more like a copywriter for social media posts, helping firms create engaging updates while, hopefully, sticking to that brand voice.
And paid campaigns,
Yeah.
advertising.
Yeah, GAI is proving helpful there as well, assisting with creating content for paid campaigns,
Hmm.
maybe drafting different landing page structures, generating variations of ad visuals for testing.
So it helps teams be more creative, more agile with their campaigns, test things faster.
Exactly. Quicker A/B testing, faster optimization to see what really works with your target audience.
Okay, so looking ahead, personalized messaging. That feels like a huge potential area for GAI.
Oh, absolutely. Huge potential.
Yeah.
Using GAI within marketing automation systems to deliver really timely, personalized content, emails, SMS messages, you name it.
Yeah.
The potential is massive.
But I sense a but coming.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the research shows its actual utilization for this right now is still pretty limited.
And I bet I know why. Back to the data privacy hurdle.
You got it. It often comes back to that reluctance to feed sensitive customer data from the CRM into external automation tools linked with GAI.
But the research sees a way forward, right? Integration.
Yes, exactly. This is flagged as a major opportunity. Integrating GAI directly with CRM systems. Imagine your sales department leveraging all that rich, existing customer data, and the GAI automatically suggests highly tailored email copy or points reps towards the most relevant piece of content for that specific prospect at that specific moment.
Wow. So reps get instant, data-driven suggestions for personalized outreach without having to dig through tons of data manually.
That's the vision. It could massively enhance engagement, boost conversion rates. That really feels like the next big frontier and a future worth pushing towards.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up and pull out the key takeaways. It sounds like GAI's role in digital content marketing is definitely evolving fast. Right now, it's a powerful assistant, mostly for content creation.
Right, a very capable assistant. But its biggest impact, the truly transformative stuff in customer intelligence and that hyper-personalized delivery, that seems to be still on the horizon, especially as companies figure out how to integrate it safely and effectively with their core data systems, like the CRM.
So for you, the sales leader listening, based on everything we've discussed from this research, here are 3 actionable takeaways you can think about implementing. Let's break them down. Number 1.
1, strategize your GAI adoption journey. Don't just, grab the first shiny tool. Think about it in stages. First, start cost effectively. Use common tools like ChatGPT for brainstorming, getting ideas flowing. That's track 1.
Okay, low barrier to entry. What's track 2?
Track 2 is investing in more function-specific tools, maybe something tailored for SEO or a specialized visual design tool. These often give more reliable, more focused results for specific tasks.
Got it. And the third track?
This is the big one, I think. Advocate internally for developing or integrating custom-trained GAI solutions with your CRM. This tailored approach is really key. It's what lets you safely use your sensitive customer data, get those really precise insights, and crucially, make sure your unique brand voice comes through consistently in all your sales content.
Right, that internal tailored solution seems crucial for unlocking the deeper value. Okay, takeaway number 2.
2, champion human expertise and clear policy. As GAI makes it easier for more people to create content, you, as the leader, need to constantly emphasize the value of human insight. Original thought leadership, careful editing, that authentic voice GAI can't fully replicate that.
So develop clear guidelines.
Exactly. Create clear internal policies for how to use GAI responsibly. Foster a culture where people feel comfortable experimenting and learning, sure. But always ensure there's human review to maintain quality and authenticity. Your team's expertise and the genuine connections they make. That's your real differentiator, especially as generic AI content grows.
Couldn't agree more. And the final takeaway, number 3.
3, push for deeper CRM and marketing automation integration. This really is the next big frontier for impacting sales directly. Actively champion projects that combine GAI with your CRM and MA platforms.
Because that's what unlocks the truly personalized stuff.
Precisely. It unlocks the potential for that highly personalized, timely messaging and sales enablement we talked about. It means giving your team data-driven content suggestions, richer lead insights, things that will directly help them engage better and close more deals.
Fantastic. 3 really solid, actionable points there. So maybe one final thought to leave everyone with.
Yeah, something to chew on. As we see more and more AI-generated content out there, a lot of which might be, let's be honest, kind of mediocre.
Okay.
How is that going to challenge sales organizations like yours? How will you need to refine and emphasize your unique human value proposition, your authentic engagement strategies to cut through that noise in the digital world?
That's a great question to ponder. How do you maintain that human connection when the machines get louder? Definitely something for all of us to think about.